Salve ragazzi, buonasera. Oggi puntata ultra mega speciale. Buonasera Magri Manarca, perché abbiamo niente poco di meno che dalla Norvegia, con un grandissimo nome, una grandissima band storica, death metal, black metal, thrash metal. Loro sono niente poco di meno che i Cadaver. Altro da dire non c'è.
Allora, prima di iniziare con l'episodio, anzitutto ringraziamo tutti i nostri fan e ascoltatori. Siamo arrivati a circa penso 1400 iscritti a breve.
Sì,
Ringraziamo
meno,
anche il nostro primo amico, che sarebbe Treble di Sun Descends Alone, il progetto Gothic Rock, che ha deciso di attuare come primo progetto il nostro servizio di video premiere. Quindi vi rimandiamo ai nostri contatti, che potete trovare in descrizione, tutti i nostri servizi come di quanto riguarda l'associazione Voltalab e il Calice Nero. Mi raccomando, rimanete sintonizzati, perché il maestro poi avrà delle news, ma non vi spoileriamo niente. Salutiamo tutti i nostri amici, tra cui anche la
Foto
carissima Foto Reporter X, nostra abbonata, che ringraziamo. Kim Fem da Twitch. Ricordiamo che siamo in diretta su Twitch, su Facebook e su YouTube. Abbiamo anche il nostro canale Telegram, discussione artistica, il Calice Nero, ma quindi diciamo che ci conoscete già benissimo, e quindi condividete questa diretta con i vostri amici. Noi siamo veramente molto molto onorati di avere con noi Anders dei Cadaver, che adesso chiamo in diretta. Hello Anders, welcome to il Calice Nero.
Hello, how are you guys?
We are really stoked to have you here on the show, and prepare yourself about the question of the maestro. So as every time we do this kind of interview, maestro will talk in Italian and I will translate. Vai maestro.
Ok, Mr. Anders, i Cadaver, quando sono nati, quando hai iniziato nel creare all'interno della tua testa i Cadaver, quanta emozione e sensazione ancora provi nel esibirti live? Che tipo di adrenalina c'è ancora?
Okay, so the first question is about one, but divided in two parts. The first
Mhm.
part is about how you guys come up together and why you choose to found Cadaver as band. And the second part is after all these years, what make you to continue this project, and what are the feelings, the emotions when you come up on stage and play and basically have this sensation through the crowd and exchange the energy with the crowd and with the people listening this music?
Well, two very different questions, but because we are very old, so we started the band a very long time ago, and it was back in the 80s, the 1980s. Maybe it was the 1880s. I don't know anymore. But back then, me and the original drummer, we had few bands that we tried out different people for. First, something which was very inspired by Celtic Frost and Slayer and Creator and stuff like this. It was called Baphomet. And then the guitarist decided to join a poodle rock band instead of going the dark way. So we were like, oh, fuck him. And it was then only the two of us. And then we had a run with another drummer, and we tried to do something that sounded maybe like Candlemass or like more like doomy stuff. But we were suddenly discovering so much new music at the time that we were like, no, we want to go more extreme. So we decided that we were the only two people that could understand this new music that came out at the time in 87, 88. Very inspired by very different things like Death, Bathory, Slayer, all these different extreme bands. And for us, it was important to figure out how to make our own extreme music. And at that time, there were not very many extreme bands in Norway. There were a few heavy metal bands and speed metal bands, but there was one band that everybody who wanted to go extreme would look up to, and that was Mayhem, of course. But Mayhem was doing something completely on their own, and Dark Throne, of course, and then Vomit. And I guess we were the fourth band to emerge as more extreme in the scene in Norway at the time. And back then, there were no division between death, black, thrash. It was all about being more extreme. And we just found our own path through this. And of course, we were inspired by the grindcore and the death metal like Morbid Angel, the grindcore like Carcass and Napalm Death, and even like hardcore bands like AOD and DRI. And so we just mixed everything together to create our own sound. And we ended up being the first extreme band from Norway actually having a record deal outside Norway with Earache Records, and releasing Hallucinating Anxiety in 1990 as the very first Norwegian extreme metal album. And this is such a long time ago, so it's a very hard thing to just remember how everything was. But what I really remember is that everything was very, very small and very, very strictly underground. So when this music really wait 1 second. Står der. Jeg muted into you.
No problem, no problem. Ok, sto facendo
Sorry.
Ok, siamo un attimo diciamo risolvendo delle problematiche. Intanto guardiamo.
Sicuramente deve parlare con perché c'è l'altro musicista, forse ancora non ho capito se c'è anche l'altro.
Vabbè, sto vedendo delle. Allora, comunque, se iniziamo a tradurre, praticamente loro sono stati il primo gruppo norvegese ad avere un seguito all'estero. con la Erac Records, infatti il primo disco che ha avuto una distribuzione mondiale, e loro si rifacevano non solo al death black metal, che erano un'unica scena, ma comunque si ispiravano anche all'hardcore come D.G.A.F, eccetera. Poi abbiamo visto che comunque la prima fase di situazione era fatta in modo tale che tutti i generi un po' più estremi avessero un seguito nonostante le divisioni di genere. Abbiamo parlato di Mayhem, Darkthrone, eccetera. Però ho visto che è ritornato, quindi lo rimettiamo in diretta. Anders, what's up? Everything is good?
Yeah. No, I'm actually in my own studio, and just before this interview, I had some people in the studio, and somebody came in the door to get some.
Okay. No, me too, actually. I'm also in the studio, so I'm also waiting people. So we have the same deal, but no problem. I was translating what you were saying about the first days to the guys. And one thing that I want to ask you, just to relink and make you continue, is that when I was finding some material on internet, it says that, tell me if it's true, at some point of your career you were called like Cadaver Inc. And the government of Norway make the band under investigation because they thought everything else was anything else. Is it true or was like a fiction?
No, the reason why we were under investigation was that this was in 2000, and back then the internet was really new, so we created a website called cadaverincorporated.com, and the website was stating that you could buy an alibi for murder through this website. So if you had killed someone, you could call us, and we would come and clean your murder scene. It was a spoof, like a fun thing for us, but it was an extreme dark humor thing. But suddenly, some people thought it was a serious attempt to try to help people to get alibis for murder. And back then, what I'm saying is that the internet was very, very different place. So if you made a website that was making fun of things, somebody in the world would take it seriously. And it was one of those things. We were pioneers of making like internet promotion in a strange way.
Okay. But really interesting this fact. So people that for sure will ask this part of question, you guys are basically satisfied about this answer. Anders, if I'm not mistaken, so the guys back in the days, that black metal, whatever, have like one scene. So the more extreme they can make, it's good, basically. So you said that you developed your sound also from hardcore as DRI and stuff like that. But since you were one of the first, if not the first, Norwegian band that have like an international record deal, how you guys get in touch with the Rec Records back in the days? You send us the demo. How was this situation? Because nowadays everything can be done by email, by internet, but 30 years ago was not like this. So can you tell us how you got in contact with the label and hold the story behind your signing with the Rec Records?
Yeah, it's I mean, back then we had the tape trading network, that was like an early form of internet through normal mail. So I think the whole underground scene, which I'm a part of and grew up with, we are very used to the networking internationally, because back then we would send demo tapes to other bands in other countries, and fanzines and fans and everything. So for us, the internet has just made everything super easy, because it was, if I had known 30 years ago that you could just go online and download every music in the whole world at the same time, also talk to people in the whole world into the same music as you, it will be incredible. This technology revolution has just made everything we wanted to do to connect with people who think the same as us so much easier. And I think when everybody is complaining about the internet, I think I'm using the internet and looking at the internet as a positive thing, because I'm used to having that sense of reaching out to people from other countries into the same thing as me through my whole life. Since I was 13, 14, I've been sending tapes. So when we were sending tapes through the tape trading in the world, we met and we were writing letters to people from Carcass, from Paradise Lost, from all kinds of bands, also in South America, in the USA, in Europe, in Indonesia, everywhere. It was incredible. I would get like 5 letters a day, every day, 5 to 10 letters with different tapes and everything. And now, I have still a lot of these old letters, and I was reading through the letter, and every letter say, "I'm so sorry for the delay, because you sent the letter out and you would wait maybe like a month or 2 months later, you get something back." So it was like an early form of the internet. So for me, it's always been internationally easy to get in touch with the same people through the networking. It's all about finding the strange people around the world into the same small thing as you like, and that was what it was all about.
Really good. So basically, you got contacts by the trade trading, and basically about the fans that were around.
Yeah, and other bands.
Telling this because we also have launched our own printed magazine as back in the days, just to revive this vintage vibe. But I'm sure that every time that we'll listen this memory about the 90s, we really can compare the world and the fast world that we have now with the different basically waiting times about back in the day. So it was really, really cool about it. We have a comment about our dear Phantomas that he said, hello guys, good evening. I brought my first LP from Cadaver only by looking the cover art. That is, in his opinion, was not good. One time ago, we buy records only by judging the cover. So what do you think about the first LP and the cover art? Can you tell us more about the concept? Even if some years are passed by, but if you have some also memory, some funny things, or something that you never told to anyone about that days, you can share about first period of time of Cadaver.
Yeah, I mean, I had a vision for the first album to be a very different cover sleeve, because we wanted to have like something from Hieronymus Bosch, the Dutch painter. But the record label didn't have any money to buy copyrights or anything, so we had to figure out something else. And then we just told them that we wanted something disgusting and in the direction of Carcass, but they found something completely different. But it was basically entrails and the brain mass of a cow and some eyes from the cow that they put out on this plastic, and they took pictures, and that was the cover sleeve. And at the time, we were kind of surprised that they just sent something to us and was like, "This is the cover sleeve." And like, okay, that was kind of weird. So it's this. You see this eye and the brain mass. So it was basically their interpretation of the idea we had, and it looks kind of extreme, and I'm kind of happy about the whole cover sleeve now, because it stands out as a very different kind of cover, and a very gory one. And it was in 1990, so I was 18 years old, so I was happy.
Perfect. Okay, so a few minutes of pause for Anders, and some quick translation, even if we translated the first part during the pause that we had earlier. Of course, I encourage you guys, if you have some question from of Anders that you want to tell to him, be sure to write down in the comments. We read everything, so don't be shy. Write down your own question to Anders, but we have our own. So you have like some minutes to think about what you ask and type in the comments. Ok ragazzi, come sempre scrivete la vostra domanda ad Anders, avete qualche minuto per pensarci mentre c'è il translation time, quindi c'è la traduzione. Abbiamo parlato degli inizi dei Cadaver, di quelli che sono stati, abbiamo parzialmente tradotto precedentemente durante la pausa. Abbiamo parlato più che altro del tape trading e di come hanno fatto i contatti semplicemente allo scambio di cassette, cosa che abbiamo parlato varie volte quando abbiamo avuto tantissimi artisti che sono esplosi o che hanno iniziato la loro carriera negli anni 90. Tutto un altro mondo rispetto ad oggi, dove siamo praticamente in 3 posti diversi del mondo, ma possiamo interagire in tempo reale, cosa che non avveniva come prima. Infatti c'erano ritardi di un paio di mesi. Insomma, gli utenti un po' più navigati rispetto al sottoscritto sapranno cos'era il tape trading, anche se c'era quel fascino, ma quel pro e quel contro che caratterizzano ogni età e ogni era. Quindi magari, ecco, dare troppo la colpa a internet o dare troppo la colpa alla, diciamo, a quello che era prima, la verità come sempre sta nel mezzo, perché dipende pure dalla fruizione di musica e dal tempo della società che cambia. Purtroppo la società non è più come 30 anni fa o come 10 anni fa, anche 5 anni fa diventano diciamo difficili e diversi rispetto a quello che è stato. Quindi abbiamo parlato all'inizio di come hanno concepito la cover, che Phantomax ci ricorda che è stato il suo primo approccio con i Cadaver, e all'epoca l'etichetta non aveva budget praticamente, quindi avevano utilizzato questa situazione da una mucca, dall'occhio, il cervello, insomma. Quindi questa cosa che era un po' sullo stile di altre band come Carcass, eccetera, però comunque aveva una sua personalità, e anche nella sua, diciamo, orrorificenza, o nel suo essere orrendo, comunque era qualcosa che non si era mai visto, e quindi caratterizza nel bene o nel male, dipende anche dal gusto, quello che è stato comunque il loro, diciamo, il loro seguito e la loro immagine. Infatti ricordo che comunque sono passati vari anni, aveva 18 anni, ovviamente la sensibilità è diversa, ma quello che si cercava all'epoca era l'essere più estremo possibile, cosa che abbiamo ritrovato anche intervistando altri artisti. E quindi abbiamo parlato in questa domanda abbiamo parlato della prima parte della carriera dei Cadaver. Ho anche aggiunto una cosa io: se leggete su internet c'è stato per un periodo il fatto che i ragazzi siano stati sotto inchiesta da parte del governo norvegese perché il loro sito era stato scambiato per un sito di, diciamo, di situazioni di copertura di omicidi, cose del genere. Però era tutto uno scherzo, era umorismo nero, insomma, perché loro sono stati anche in questo pionieri nella promozione online attraverso i metodi dei siti web, eccetera. Ovviamente l'internet 1.0 non era affatto quello che è oggi, e quindi si poteva trovare facilmente di tutto, non era normato o parzialmente controllato, e aggiungo io parzialmente anche sotto controllo, che è diverso. E quindi c'è stata questa parentesi quando si chiamavano Cadaver Inc. Incorporated, questa situazione. Quindi abbiamo anche parlato di questo, e quindi abbiamo dato, diciamo, un piccolo assaggio della prima parte di carriera. Allora, se non ci sono domande, o mentre ragazzi fate le vostre domande, passo la palla al cattivo maestro per la prossima
Allora,
domanda. Vai maestro.
per quanto riguarda invece i Cadaver, Anders, quanto può essere facile, più di quello che si pensa, di creare la vostra musica in film, in varie sequenze di film? Nel senso, non so se conosci Saw come tipologia di film. Ci sono stati diversi, dal primo all'8º, se non ricordo
Tra
male.
l'altro ne deve uscire pure uno nuovo a breve, quindi
Sì, deve uscire anche il nuovo, devo andare a vedere anche quello. Quindi, quanto può essere i Cadaver all'interno di varie sequenze di film completamente diversi uno dall'altro, senza mai tralasciare il fan, i vostri fans, eh, stufi del vostro genere. Quindi lasciare sempre quella suspense eterna.
okay, so maybe you noticed the kind of question, but I will translate everything. Don't worry. So the maestro is asking you, even if Cadaver have the chance to make a soundtrack for a movie that have not to be only horror, you would like to know if you guys wanted to have this possibility, and if some director, some guys from the cinema industry basically ask you to make your own soundtrack, or basically choose a song from your discography to be soundtrack for a movie, which kind of movie you will pick? Of course, the maestro said that horror movie are perfect, as for example the Soul Saga, but he was not he was not to say only that kind of horror movie. So he would like to know from you, Anders, if you have the chance to work hand by hand with a director and make your own soundtrack, and play with your fantasy, play with your mind. Which kind of soundtrack and which kind of movie you would like to be part of it as a composer and as like the musical direction? Let's call like this, the musical direction of a movie.
Well, if I was to choose from all kinds of directors in the world, it would be probably if I was hired by someone like Tim Burton or David Lynch, that would be amazing.
Okay, perfect. And if you have to pick one song from your the discography that can be perfect for a soundtrack, I know that it's difficult, but just to say, which one you will pick?
I would probably try to pick. I mean, from the new album, I would pick the intro because that is actually very filmatic. I made that piece to be like a dystopian, post-apocalyptic jazz horror thing, where I incorporate like this trombone player from the first album doing something that sounds like from the 1920s to some sort of dystopian sci-fi, where it's like time traveling into a dystopian future. So I think some of our music would definitely fit that kind of movie, or just something totally absurd like David Lynch is doing. So that would be my biggest dream if I was to ask by David Lynch or Tim Burton. But that would be two very different directions, but it would be amazing.
Okay, perfect. And if we can tell about the lyrical inspiration and also the imagery inspiration, since you said Tim Burton, David Lynch, but also talk about like post-apocalyptic dystopia. You have some references, maybe books, art, something that inspires you every day. And since we are talking about inspiration, and you live in a place like Norway, which is full of landscape, full of nature in that sense, what are your basically main sources of inspiration when come up with new music?
Well, I think my inspiration mainly comes from inside, to be honest. It's more like the human struggle to do something with your life, which has so many potentials, but you are only able to spend this much time on earth doing what you want to do. And I'm inspired by the human condition, the fact that we are only here for a short time and we never know which day we are going to die. And the older you get, the more you think about what you should be inspired by yourself to do, because that's the only thing you have. Everybody who's artists that want to please other people make the biggest mistake of their life, because the only one that you should please as an artist is yourself. If you are pleased yourself, that is all that matters. If somebody else likes what you like, that's fantastic. But if they don't, you shouldn't care so much about this. So I think that's my lesson in life, is that if you follow your inner voice, your inner drive to make something artistic for yourself, that's the only important thing you can contribute to the world of music or arts or whatever. It's something that comes from you. Everything else is just copying others or trying to please others, and it will always fail, always. So whatever you do, just do it for yourself first, and if people like it, fine. If they don't, fine. That's the most important thing.
Actually, really, really cool advice also for young artists that are basically immersed and submerged about all of this social media stuff, likes, views, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So, of
no,
course, the lesson is important. First, please yourself.
Yeah, you have to, because if you're not pleased with yourself and what you're doing, and really trying to improve whatever that is, you will never succeed anyway. You know, you will never feel successful. You know, the success has to be your own terms. And I'm very happy to come from a generation where we did not count anything. We didn't count how many people listen to us, how many records we sell, how many people come to the shows. Everything was just about the arts, and it's the only way to do anything, you know, especially if you want to do something which is purely underground, like extreme metal. It's never going to be a successful thing for anyone, you know. It's going to be a struggle, and it's going to be something you really want to do. And if you don't really want to do it, do something else, you know. You have to do it for yourself. And back in the day, bands like Mayhem were proud that people hated them and nobody liked it, you know. And I took that in heritage with me, that I will make music that nobody likes but me first. And then if that counts to 100 people, or just one more, or 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000, doesn't matter anyway, because it's only about how you feel yourself.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Anders, for this kind of advice. Also for the guys that are watching, since it's really, really cool to hear these words nowadays. So it's kind of huge inspiration for the guys. So thank you, Anders. And meanwhile, we got the next question. I would like to basically translate a little bit this section, because for me it's very important. So translation time again, and then we got with the last bunch of questions. Guys, of course, don't be shy. We got some question to Anders, but you are part of this podcast together. So if you want, write down in the comments your own. I will never tell enough you guys to write your own question, because I would like to interact more with you guys. Ok, ragazzi, mi raccomando, scrivete, non mi stancherò mai di dirlo, perché mi fa piacere se interagite. Allora, abbiamo fatto un po' di domande, forse siamo saltati un poco da una parte all'altra, però devo dire che l'ultima parte soprattutto è molto importante, perché soprattutto è una questione anche di attitudine, quella che parla lui. Ma andiamo indietro. Abbiamo parlato di colonna sonora, ovviamente ha parlato di film di David Lynch, di Tim Burton, abbiamo fatto un parallelismo con So, il maestro ha fatto un parallelismo con So, e praticamente abbiamo visto sostanzialmente come le generazioni sono cambiate nel corso degli anni, anche a livello di approccio alla musica. Prima si andava in un punto in cui non si contavano visualizzazioni, non si contavano stream, perché si faceva l'arte per il proprio volere e per la propria voglia di andare a spaccare e fare qualcosa di molto estremo. E quindi abbiamo parlato soprattutto di ispirazioni, di cosa ci ispira, di cosa vogliamo che ci ispiri, e soprattutto anche della genuinità che c'è dietro un progetto estremo come quello dei Cadaver, fino a dare un consiglio molto importante per noi tutti che viviamo questa musica, ossia fare quello che ci piace per soddisfare noi stessi, perché siamo noi che dobbiamo essere soddisfatti in quanto artisti e non vivere rincorrendo il successo. Ovviamente c'è una parte di film, però chiedo al maestro un attimo di temporeggiare 2 minuti, siccome devo materialmente aprire un cancello, quindi se mi dai 2 secondi arrivo subito, in modo tale da poter continuare questa diretta. Quindi esco un attimo, Alan, tu ovviamente aggiorna i ragazzi sulle prossime cose. Io arrivo subito, ragazzi, scusate, un contrattempo.
Ok,
vai un attimo.
Allora ragazzi, niente, oggi abbiamo una delle band più importanti del black thrash metal, del death metal. Stiamo parlando di Cadaver. Quindi un nome che negli anni è riuscito a darci più di un qualcosa, perché le emozioni, la crudezza, ma quella crudezza particolare. Quindi una band, the number one band Cadaver. Fantastic band, quindi merita questi appunto queste parole per descrivere veramente che band è riuscito a mettere su Anders, e noi ringraziamo ancora tutt'oggi di aver accettato questa mia intervista, perché per noi rimarrà per sempre negli annali, nel database di YouTube.
Perfetto, perfetto, mi sentite? Perfetto, ci sta una domanda di Phantomax che diciamo fa un attimo, ok. There is a question from a guy that is following us like one of the hardcore fans of Calice Nero. He would like to ask to Anders about the life and the beginning, the born of a song from Cadaver. Which you guys start? Riff, a vocal line. So I would like to know in what way a song borns from your hands through the record and to basically have his own life.
Yeah, I mean, in this music it's all about first the riff. I think, you know, it's you have to find some sort of connection to a feeling that you want to express through some riffs, and then I try to work the riffs in a way that sounds like me, which is very hard to figure out in your life. But whatever I'm doing, I always try to figure out what is my contribution to this music. And then when I have a string of riffs, that comes always from one riff. So one song is based on one core riff, and then we build the song out from this riff. And sometimes the title is a working title, and then sometimes the working title becomes the lyrics. I always write the lyrics and the vocals towards the end of the process, because this music is all about the riffs and the moods and all the stuff that goes on with the tempos and you know, drums and everything. And I'm so happy that I'm working with extremely talented musicians, so I can just send my stuff to the drummer Dirk Verburen, which is also in, of course, Megadeth now. But he and me started
Solid work, yeah.
we started to work 10 years ago. So we have a relationship working on all. We have recorded 25 songs together now, so we know how we want things to sound. And he comes up with a back and forward, and then sometimes also ideas for lyrics and stuff. But I always have to land it so I feel like it's coming from me. So it's a process where it sparks an idea like this, and when it's really easy to figure out that this is really cool, we should do something with this. And sometimes songs are also scrapped because I don't feel that they are good enough or representing what we want to do. And oh my god, I have so many demos which I have unfinished songs or ideas. I have my own studios. I can record every day something, and I have files and files and files. Unused.
I can only imagine, since I have my own environment too, all the unfinished ideas and stuff like that. Go back and forth, change something. But since, of course, you name Dirk Verburen, I hope to pronounce it good. For us Italian, these names are kind of tricky. You guys are more focused into studio project, or would like to switch and tour and play? So I was this collaboration, and also you changed a little bit the lineup during the years. But if you can, with your fantasy, of course, with your mind, choose the best people that you have worked with and create like a dream band, a dream Cadaver. Of course, except Dirk, we would like to pick as best player and another guitarist. If you have also some memories about the old guys that on the project.
I think the lineup we have right now is the best lineup I could ever have, because I have Dirk on drums, and I have Eilert, the old double bass player, back in the band as well, which is a very skilled bass player and also a jazz musician. You know,
Okay,
he knows a lot of and comes from punk and metal and jazz. and he was also recording with us in Pains, you know. So I learned a lot from him back in the day. So and on the last album also we have Ronnie Litekler from TNT doing lead guitar, and if we ever had the time to go out and play with this lineup on the last album, and that people wanted us to play live with this lineup, we will of course do this. But nowadays playing concerts has become so expensive for bands to travel, and touring for underground music mostly, I would say, over. You know, a lot of bands are of course touring, but it's so expensive to tour now. So it's really hard to see that we can do this lineup as a live act that is doing a lot of stuff. But of course, we would like to do that, but it's just too expensive. There's, you know, this music we're doing is very underground, and there's not enough money in the world to bring bands like this on the road. And but that's for me fine, because I almost died from touring with bands on the road for almost 30 years, you know. It's more exciting for me to make the music and record it and release it than to perform live. But sometimes I like to perform live too, but it's not essential for me anymore. I'm 50 now. I'm having my own studio. I love to make music, and I want to release more music more often, instead of just going out being the entertainment part of the thing.
Ok, thank you Anders.
Diciamo tutto.
Aspetta, prima di tradurre c'è una domanda di Blame Mob Torto.
La leggiamo dopo. La leggiamo dopo.
No, fammela fare così traduco, perché siamo collegati.
Perché ho le domande da fare.
Ok, facciamo un secondo e poi andiamo avanti. Facciamo stretto. Ok, there is a question from Blame Mob Torto. Thank you for this interesting guest. A question for Anders. What were the most popular and appreciated Italian bands among Norwegian at the beginning of your career?
Well, in the beginning of my career, I only knew one band from Italy. It was called Bulldozer.
Ok, che salutiamo. We know them. We have we had them also on the show. So big up to them, and really cool band that are also on tour in America right now. So if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah. Bulldozer, yes.
And apart from them, right now I can't remember anybody else from the 80s. I don't know. Maybe there was some, but this is the band on the top of my head that I remember.
Okay, perfect, Anders. Some pause for you, because we have a lot to say, a lot to translate. So also we are also going on the last part of the interview. So be sure, guys, to stick with us for more questions to Anders. And by the way, thank you, Anders, for your time. We really appreciate it to have this conversation together.
Nice.
Ok, ragazzi, abbiamo parlato della prima parte, insomma, della questione dei Cadaver. Abbiamo parlato anche della sua collaborazione col batterista Dirk, che attualmente è in forza ai Megadeth, come è stato con i Soilwork. Insomma, un batterista tutto tondo. E la line-up attuale consiste anche di un bassista che è anche contrabbassista, quindi unisce il mondo del punk, del metal e del jazz. Però comunque lui dice che nonostante tutta questo movimento, queste persone che sono vicine al suo mondo, non hanno più interessi, insomma, a quello del live, siccome c'è una grossa fetta di costi che vanno sostenuti per portare una band on the road, e loro al momento non vogliono andare on the road per via dei costi, anche della difficoltà organizzativa, considerando che il batterista è in forza coi Megadeth, quindi potete immaginare un po' tutta la questione del tour, come va organizzato. Comunque in ogni caso loro collaborano da tanto tempo, hanno tantissime, diciamo, canzoni non finite, circa 25. Poi il fatto che hanno lo studio di registrazione, come potete vedere dietro di me, che luci si accendono e persone che vanno nello studio, come è normale che sia. Ci sono tante idee che vengono finite, che non vengono finite, tante idee che vengono lasciate appese, tante idee che vengono cambiate continuamente, perché appunto avere il punto di forza nello studio è ottimale proprio per finire e produrre le canzoni. Rispondendo alla domanda di Phantomax, ovviamente la prima parte principale è il riff, che poi va a costituire la parte principale di qualsiasi canzone metal, perché comunque un gruppo come Cadaver ovviamente è immaginabile che parta dai riff sostanzialmente. per poi diciamo traslitterare tutto nelle liriche, che comunque dà una mano anche il suo secondo socio, però comunque lui è il principale personaggio che appunto è in questa situazione. E poi fondamentalmente abbiamo anche una parte più di gestione del progetto che viene dai due, quindi sono loro due principali. Per quanto concerne infatti quello che dicevamo prima riguardo la colonna sonora e tutto, si parla soprattutto di horror, ma anche di un futuro distopico come l'ultimo album, e come brano sostanzialmente fatto per diciamo la situazione dell'ultimo album è la traccia numero 1, quindi l'intro fondamentalmente. L'intro che dà appunto un'idea un po' più da soundtrack, però l'abbiamo detto anche precedentemente, sostanzialmente per quanto riguarda i film c'è David Lynch, c'è Tim Burton, c'è tanto horror ma anche tanta fantascienza sostanzialmente. Poi maestro, se mi puoi ricordare cos'altro ho mancato, però penso di aver detto tutto. La band italiana che chiede Blame of Torto è appunto i Bulldozer, che abbiamo avuto anche molte volte, un paio di volte mi pare, come ospite.
Una volta Easy Wild.
Easy Wild, esatto, l'ho incontrato proprio un anno fa quando aprimmo i Venom Ming allo Slaughter, c'era anche lui. E, niente, ovviamente i Bulldozer sono una band che attualmente è di ritorno, o se non sta ancora in tour, non mi ricordo, negli Stati Uniti d'America, quindi una band che sta ritornando appunto a prenderci ciò che è suo, insomma, perché comunque è una band che merita. E poi cos'altro, ragazzi? Mi sembra che abbiamo coperto tutto. Poi abbiamo detto qualcosa riguardante la line-up, qual è la migliore line-up. Però dice che se dovesse scegliere la migliore line-up possibile dei Cadaver, quella attuale sarebbe la line-up migliore.
Anders, in Norvegia il black e il death metal che tipo di vita sta avendo attualmente? Perché ricordiamo che appunto in Norvegia tutti sappiamo, anche i sassi, anche i bambini di appena nati che non sono neanche nati, addirittura l'inner circle. Ok, perfetto. È stato detto di tutto per l'inner circle, di tutto e di più. Secondo te, Anders, il black e il death come riesce ad avere un'evoluzione ulteriore senza cadere nel passato, quindi nei ricordi? Perché ho notato che in Norvegia c'è appunto la Dark Essence Records, che è un'etichetta veramente fantastica, e ha delle produzioni molto interessanti, anche sullo sludge, sul doom. Quindi la Norvegia può avere una seconda vita senza ancorarsi ancora attualmente all'inner circle.
Okay, so Anders, the question from the maestro is about the actual scene of death metal, of extreme metal in general, going from doom metal, sludge metal, death, black, of course. Someone, of course, he named some record label as, for example, Dark Essence, that have like huge catalog of new bands. But of course, we have a lot of roots, like the inner circle roots. So, what are your opinion about the new scene, but also can this new kind of extreme music have a new life, or they have to deal always with the past, in your opinion?
That's an interesting question. I think that every generation needs to find out what they want to do that makes sense to them, you know. The reason why I'm a part of what I'm a part of was that we were finding things that were totally super obscure at the time, and we were a small group getting into this very obscure music, and now that it has become a worldwide phenomenon, it's probably harder and harder for new bands to basically find their own sound and own look and everything. But I'm always thinking that whenever there's a new generation, a new generation will always find out what they are doing on their own. It's not up to me.
Okay.
It's not up to me to tell 20-year-old or 15-year-old people how to be extreme in their own time, because the world has changed a lot, very, very, very drastically. The last 5 years has been extreme. But anyone who is 13 now will have a total different world to enter into with whatever they are feeling and whatever they want to do. And I think it's not wise that old people are supposed to tell young people how to be interesting or clever or doing something new, because they will always find a new way. And whatever is coming out which is interesting now from younger bands is, of course, for me as an old extreme metal guy, I'm probably not the right person to judge if this or that is interesting right now, because if I really like it, it's probably to conform somehow, you know.
Okay.
If in 1990 somebody who was 50 years old in 1990 would have been born in 1940, you know, if they told me what kind of extreme music I should make, it would make no sense to me at all. If you understand what I'm saying. If you're born,
sure.
if you're born in 2010, you know, and are 13 right now, you will find your own whatever that is. And I think that's the beauty of growing up, getting older, and seeing the new generation finding new stuff to do. And I'm not very nostalgic. I think too many people in metal are nostalgic about old school stuff, because when I did this extreme music in the late 80s and beginning of the 90s, it was brand new. It was a new wave of things. It was a brand new sound, a brand new expression. It was not old school at all. So now everybody's like, it has to be old school. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It has to be old school for who, you know? If you're young, you should make something of your own generation. That's
Okay.
my advice, you know.
Like I like this kind of answer, because we have in Italy a lot of people that are basically wink themselves about old school and true metal and stuff like that. But of course, sounds changes through the years, so it's pointless to copy and paste the past. So
Yeah,
otherwise, everyone to do the same things actually.
yeah,
And
exactly.
if you have to pick some albums, some new albums, some new artists to suggest to the people, you would like to name some artists, so you are into this music. And what about the popularity compared to the mainstream in Norway? Of course, in Italy, metal it's really really a close niche, but of course we have like an idyllic vision of what Norway is. So if you tell to some guy that is listening to metal in Italy, they say, okay, in Norway everybody listens to metal. Is it true, or things are changing during the years?
No, this is the biggest lie ever told. In Norway, metal is for special fans too. You know, Norwegian mainstream music is as shitty here as in Italy. You know,
Okay.
what is on the radio in Norway sucks as well. It's everything. You know, music for specialized people are
Okay.
special everywhere. You know, it's just a matter of how many people are in the country. Of course, a band like any band would be big in Mexico or the United States in the numbers compared to their own country, because those countries have 300 million people plus or something, or Brazil, or you know, Brazil is almost 300 million people. All these huge countries have much more extreme people, but they're in their own country niche as well. You know,
Okay.
this music
Okay.
is super niche everywhere. In Norway, most people know about metal in the way that the you know the sensational stories with the church burning and the murders and all this myth from Bursum and Mayhem, but they never listen to this music. They just know
Okay.
it as a crime story, so
Okay.
something which was a crazy story, but they never listen to Mayhem, they never listen to Bursum, they never listen to anything. It's like a big myth that Norway is where everybody listens to metal. Unfortunately for everybody, that's not true. It's it's of
Okay.
course more people into metal in Norway compared to maybe Italy, you know, but compared to Finland, maybe there's more people into metal than in Norway.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. Okay, translating what we said before, and we go to the last bunch of questions for you, Anders. Again, thank you for your time. Ragazzi, abbiamo fatto un bel discorso che io sinceramente lo prenderei e lo tipo incornicerei, non lo so, da qualche parte, maestro, comprami una cornice, perché se una persona come Anders dei Cadaver, quindi un gruppo storico, dice che essere old school nel 2023 non ha senso, perché è come se uno mummifica appunto quello che è stato vecchio e lo vuole tentare di resuscitare inutilmente, dicendo che era stupido prima ed è stupido adesso tentare di direzionare i giovani che hanno il suo modo di esprimersi rispetto a 20 anni fa, 10 anni fa. È ottimo anche per tutta quella schiera di persone che magari è ancora ferma purtroppo a fine anni 80, anche se è nata nei primi anni 2000. Quindi vabbè, poi sono anche idee, però è stucchevole vedere come tante persone sono legate a quel periodo. Però ha parlato di tutta la situazione, di come era il gruppo, di come si viveva la scena, di quello che è stata la scena, di quello che è oggi attualmente, e comunque è figlia dei suoi tempi. Quindi c'è sempre una situazione che va plasmata in base alle persone. Più che altro reputo la domanda molto interessante, ma comunque non la giustifica, nel senso che dice in Norvegia è sempre una nicchia, è sempre una piccola parte di persone che ascolta questo genere. Non è che se tu vai in Norvegia tutti ascoltano questo genere, cioè è sempre una nicchia correlata al numero di persone, perché probabilmente in Italia ci sono meno metallari della Norvegia, in Norvegia sono meno metallari del Brasile, e il Brasile sono metallari degli Stati Uniti, però comunque è una nicchia, è sempre una questione di persone che si specializzano, quindi è una questione anche di attitudine e anche di numeri. In un mondo in cui possiamo quantificare e analizzare tutti i dati, ovviamente i paesi più grandi sono quelli con più seguito, ma perché ci sono organicamente più persone. Detto ciò, la scena dice che secondo lui vive sempre di una situazione florida, perché ci sono sempre i giovani che tentano la loro via, e in loro, tra virgolette, in quanto vecchi, non vogliono dare delle direzioni, perché è un po' come ascoltare, diciamo, il Matusa, come si sarebbe qualche anno fa, no? I boomer, come direbbero gli amici dei deviati, no? Perché c'ho la maglia. Quindi fondamentalmente il discorso non ammette, no, il fatto è che lui dice il discorso ammette l'evoluzione, e se rimane stantio rimane appunto stagnante in questo senso. Io almeno l'ho inteso così. E per quanto riguarda l'evoluzione anche del genere, è sempre figlia del suo tempo, perché comunque all'inizio le cose erano diverse e poi si va giorno dopo giorno, mese dopo mese, gruppo dopo gruppo, esperienza dopo esperienza. Comunque lo sta ribadendo anche Agamante nei commenti, l'arte in questo senso è fluida, quindi anche nella fruizione. Poi abbiamo parlato anche dei miti che ci sono dietro la Norvegia, che molto spesso vengono identificati con i vari Burzum, i vari Mayhem, che purtroppo non hanno avuto un impatto significativo sulla musica, più che altro come storie tipo demoni urbani, sostanzialmente storie di crimine, di criminologia. E quindi fondamentalmente non è che la situazione sia cambiata rispetto agli anni scorsi, più che altro magari c'era più unione, magari la scena poteva essere fatta da più persone che si univano, non settorializzata come al giorno d'oggi, ma comunque ha detto che è un mito quello di pensare che magari in Norvegia ci siano tutti che ascoltano metal e pochi che ascoltano, faccio un esempio, la musica della radio fondamentalmente. Quindi è sempre una
In
questione
Norvegia ascoltavo molto hip hop.
situazionale. E vabbè, ma in generale
No,
il
in
metal
Norvegia proprio
rimane...
ascoltavo tanto
Esatto, ma
hip
poi il
hop.
metal rimane sempre una nicchia, quello che dice lui, una nicchia
Ma in tutti i
specializzata.
posti,
Sì, in tutti i posti, sì,
tutti i
assolutamente,
luoghi.
assolutamente. Ma anche il fatto
Anders,
di poter, diciamo, di poter vivere questa musica diversamente. Un attimo
ma
solo
quello
che,
senza verità.
as you can see, Anders, I have also people
Ciao
in my
Gamante.
studio, so sorry for some weird noises in the background. Ok,
Vabbè,
ciao Francesca, un attimo solo.
Allora, Anders,
mhm.
la domanda conclusiva del canale è questa. Allora, qual è la bevanda perfetta per descrivere l'arte interiore ed esteriore dei Cadaver? E allo stesso tempo deve essere una bevanda alcolica ma non troppo, per far sì che le papille gustative riescono a memorizzare il dolciastro e il gusto aspro un disco dei Cadaver, devi scegliere solo un disco. Qual è la band?
Okay, first of all, the maestro wants to thank you, Anders, for your time. We have the last question, the question that we always do for all the guests, because we basically had this chance to make this question to everyone. It's really funny to have a different answer, different version of the answer to this question that maybe you can find weird, but it's fun in our own opinion. Since our name is called the Black Calice, quindi il Calice Nero, as you can see the logo on the screen. And the maestro wants to know which is the perfect drink to describe yourself as a musician, and the perfect drink that can be used to describe a Cadaver CD, and which one Cadaver CD you'd like to describe through the drink, of course.
A drink?
Yeah, drink, whatever you want, alcoholic, non-alcoholic. Giusto, maestro?
I norvegiatori.
Yeah, that's I think if you make yourself a portion with a magic portion of magic mushrooms and drink and listen to our stuff, you will be very surprised.
Ok, quindi una pozione magica fatta con i funghi. This is like
Ok, allora,
we never
vediamo a
had this.
trovarti.
We never had this
Allora
answer.
vediamo.
Maybe Anders, in private, you can make the ingredients so the maestro can try at his own
Andiamo
to
a
make
trovarlo,
the
Anders.
magic Cadaver potion, no?
I will
Andiamo a
invite the maestro to come to Norway, and I will show him how insane this will get.
Ok, quindi can I come too, or only the maestro?
You
Can
have
we
to
come
come.
both?
You have to come to translate, I guess.
Ok. Praticamente ci ha invitato, diciamo, ufficialmente in Norvegia per provare questo indruglio magico. Non so se ne usciremo vivi, fondamentalmente.
No, non ne usciremo, rimarremo in Norvegia per sempre. Magari. Fantastico.
Maestro really look forward to come to try it, no? But I also added in Italian, we don't know if we can come back alive after this experience, because it will be too magical, no?
Oh,
Bellissimo.
Yeah, you have to stay in Norway, I guess.
Ok, rimarrà in Norvegia fondamentalmente.
Magari.
Ok, Anders, if you have some news about Cadaver, some new stuff going on, this is your chance to share whatever you want about the program. And by the way, I'm also repeating myself too many times, but it's for me it's an honor to have you here in the show. Big fan from all the time, so we are really stoked to have you again in a new episode. The door of Calice Nero will be always open also for promote new stuff, so we would like to get in touch, and we hope you enjoy these questions. Thank you, Anders, from the bottom of the heart, from Ringraziamo and the Maestro.
Thank you very much, Anders.
Thank you very much. We are working on some reissuing of old stuff.
Okay.
Right now, we have found in the archives an unreleased version of the In Pains album, which was like a pre-production for the album. And we are going to mix this, and it will come out under a different name, which was the original ID for the name.
Okay.
Which was called Hymns of Misanthropy.
Okay.
And it will feature an unreleased song with the original singer as well. So he will
okay. Really cool news.
Come to my studio in 2 days, and we will record some old stuff with his vocals. And we will also reissue the Necrosis record with the Decomposed Metal Skin. Okay. And we are also talking about doing some strange EPs, really gritty, old school stuff. So we are working on securing some of our legacy and to continue being the strangest band from Norway, which is probably what we are. So we will continue to release music, and next year we'll see some of this coming eventually.
Okay,
and,
perfect.
Yeah,
really looking forward about this, and we are.
Thank you very much.
I think we are the first one to know that. So I think.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you for the exclusive. So really stoked about also following the news about the new but the reissue of Cadaver. So guys, support Cadaver on their website, social media, all things in description as always. Thank you, Anders, for his time, and and also to get the time during basically managing the studio to come up with this interview. We really appreciate this availability from your side. So thank you for your time again, Anders, and have a nice continue of evening from Graziano and Alan of il Calice Nero. Thank you, Anders, from the bottom of the heart.
Bye bye, Anders.
Bye. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Allora, ragazzi, you are welcome. Abbiamo avuto una notizia bomba da parte di Cadaver. Usciranno reissue del loro primi album. Anche Padre Pio e Ciro approvano, e sostanzialmente ci saranno delle nuove registrazioni con il materiale originale, con il cantante originale dei Cadaver. Quindi per tutti gli amici che stanno aspettando, sotto Nuclear Blast uscirà questo, ovviamente, come tutti i loro lavori, e sarà bello perché avranno programmato una sorta di situazione per assicurarsi una loro eredità, quindi una loro legacy alle loro uscite, fondamentalmente. Quindi sotto Nuclear Blast, che oramai è diventata parte di una major della Universal, mi pare, quindi fondamentalmente sarà disponibile ovunque. E niente, maestro, abbiamo avuto in esclusiva, perché dice che devono uscire ancora i comunicati ufficiali, quindi il Calice Nero in esclusiva c'è questa notizia per voi fans del metal.
Ragazzi, 2 secondi. Bobby Gustafson il 4 ex Overkill, ricordiamo tutti con i dischi di Overkill, i dischi di Violence, anche qualcosa di Violence. Poi il 6 The Flash del gruppo Thrash importantissimo, e l'8 ci sono gli Impaled, gruppo grind death di grandissimo spessore, che
in descrizione trovate tutti i link per
Rotten
richiedere l'intervista
Sound,
e vedere tutte le
com'era?
cose.
Rotten Sound, Rotten Sound, Impaled, e ce n'è un altro gruppo che non mi ricordo, mi sfugge, del grind death, che adesso mi sfugge.
Vedetevi, diciamo, la programmazione. In
Niente,
descrizione
ragazzi,
trovate il sito che ha fatto il buon Andrea, che sta qua dietro, che si chiama voltlab.it, dove trovate il nostro merchandising per sostenere il canale, se volete. Ringraziamo ovviamente il management e la Nuclear Blast Records per averci fatto da tramite con i ragazzi dei Cadaver, e il buon Alan che sta contattando tutti gli amici e tutti i gruppi. Noi ci vediamo al prossimo video. Ovviamente, ragazzi, ci sarà una programmazione fitta, quindi seguiteci sulle nostre pagine, link in descrizione. Un saluto da Graziano e il cattivo maestro. Vi ringraziamo.
Un abbraccio a tutti, ragazzi,
e un abbraccio. Grazie, maestro, per diciamo questa recovery, perché i Cadaver sono uno dei miei gruppi estremi preferiti, quindi sono stato molto contento di far parte di questo progetto. E un abbraccio a tutti gli abbonati al canale e a tutti gli amici iscritti. Siamo quasi a 1400, quindi condividete e iscrivetevi al canale. Un abbraccio a tutti. Vai, maestro.
Si fermano mai. Se qualcuno dice domani 000, la morte viene libero. Buon nuit.